So this is the 2.5 year check in the upside. I guess I just realized that I couldn't do the acting thing in LA the way it was being done, the way I was doing it. It was just burning the candle at both ends. I was going to too many auditions, and it was too much freaking work. I mean, it just, if I would have gotten one job and stayed on that and just finished that job, it'd be one thing. But I was like trying to do a bunch of different jobs, and it burned me up. So I pulled out. My subconscious or my PTSD made me pull out. So I left. And came back home. I retreated. And, the first thing I did was I got a physical checkup to see where I was at. And it turns out that I did well physically on my health check and all that stuff, except for my pancreas was showing signs of being stressed. I still might have to get that checked out a little more. But I know that was from stress. I mean, most people, the first thing they ask me, well, do you drink or whatever, because that's a common thing for you to have your pancreas going funny. And at 2.5 years, I haven't drank. There's no reason to lie about that, or I don't really care. Anyway, so, all I can figure is it was the stress from my situation in LA, why my pancreas got tweaked. So now that I'm out of the stress, I'll get another health check and see how that goes. But at 2.5 years, I realized I got to continue to change. Just because I have 2.5 years sober doesn't mean I have to stop changing. I have to change some habits in order to maintain my sobriety and continue. And so basically, in the 2.5 years, I've become aware of things that I wasn't aware of before. Like, I've been aware of brainwashing and how people are brainwashed in societies ever since I was 1 year old. I mean, I never became brainwashed by society or the government or books or television or other people that much, or my family of origin. I was raised in the drug dealing family I was raised in. I was brainwashed by my alcoholism, and my drug addiction was the thing. That's the thing that really got me. But well, actually, I've realized that the things I got to change now is diet, and like I've always proudly been an alcoholic. I mean, I've gone to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings and proudly said that I'm an alcoholic because my primary drug of choice has been alcohol, but that's genetics. But I've always, proudly sat down, and I've always resorted to the bottle over everything else. I mean, I've gone on painkillers before from accidents I've been in, and those don't cause the trouble. Once I switch over to alcohol plus the painkillers, then I get into trouble every time. But I would always proudly go to AA meetings saying I'm an alcoholic. And I remember one time I was at this meeting about 4 years ago, and there was this guy that's in Alcoholics Anonymous, and he would say that he wasn't just an alcoholic, he was a rageaholic, and he was a this-aholic and that-aholic. And see, when I heard that 4 years ago, that didn't really click. But now that makes sense. now I realize, aside from being an alcoholic, I am actually an addict. I can become addicted to sex. I can become addicted to violence. You know, I was raised in a violent life, and I can be addicted to violence, sex, sugar, monosodium glutamate, all kinds of different things. And so I guess that's my main awareness at 2.5 years, that I've realized of things that I've got to change have to do more with my brain chemistry. Like I've always done weights because of the rush from the endorphins, the chemical changes in the brain of euphoria and all that, the endorphins, and looking at society and how people are raised and everything in this world, I think everybody's addicted to something. And I guess that's my main awareness at 2.5 years. Is there's so many things you can get addicted to. You know, you can get addicted to the internet. You can get addicted to trying to find information. You can get addicted to trying to find the answer to life. You can get addicted to trying to research history. You can get addicted to trying to save the world. You can get addicted to wars. You can get addicted to guns. You can get addicted to so many different things. Alterate your brain chemistry, you know. And I paid attention to my diet because I had cancer since I was like, I have some tests that go back to, like, I remember 12 years old, and the doctors told me, you know, there's something wrong with your body and we don't know what it is. And then finally they had a test for it, and I found out I had cancer in the 90s. So I knew that when I ate a bunch of bad food, I felt really, really crappy, like a bad hangover or whatever. And I knew that was because my immune system or my body was challenged by the cancer. So I figured out the basics on diet years ago, and that's what kept me alive. Is I don't know where this is going. Is, you know, but then I didn't really deal with the diet fully. I did with the dealt with the basics and every stuff. But I ate so much of some type of foods that I feel like I should say something that's going to impress people, or say something that's going to be important, or help other people, or I don't know, people pleasing or whatever. But it's, these other habits or these other things that I've been doing that alter my brain chemistry. I've gotten out of the anger and the rage. And the PTSD doesn't get triggered as much because I I generally place myself in an environment where I'm around people and situations that don't trigger it as much as I can. So, I guess ultimately, 2.5 years, my philosophy is still the same pretty much as, to thy known self be true, like it says on the coin. And I have 2.5 years. I haven't even picked up a chip yet because I got an attitude in LA when I said I had 2 years and they wanted me to go buy a chip. In the country I'm in now, I don't have to frickin' buy a chip. And I'll get one. But, on the chip it says to thy known self be true. And so that's the bottom line. I've said this before. I've known people with, I know this girl with 12 years, and she was sponsoring 7 people, and she went to meetings every day, and she went back out because the boyfriend she was involved with, he went back out, and he took her, she let him take her with him or whatever, and there went her sobriety, and that was, regardless of the amount of meetings and all that. I think you got to be honest with yourself, really. In this life, you have to have your own opinions and kind of go your own road. You really have to discover what is going to keep you sober and off the drugs and alcohol, and then the other addictions, what's going to keep you out of those. But for years, I thought it was like genetic in my case, and then psychological from the abuse and all that stuff were reasons for relapse or whatever, or just flat out denial of forgetting where I came from and all that. But you have to be honest with yourself, because there's a whole world full of influence of brainwashing and stimulus that doesn't want you to be true to yourself, that doesn't want you to know who you are. It's easy to get lost.